welcome to the Music Lens podcast with me, Alex Allegra.
And Katie Fee.
Yes. We're back. I feel like when we posted the last two, I was like, oh my God, we did it again.
We did it again.
We're
Up
not
and running
having,
again.
mental breakdowns every week again.
Yes.
No.
I mean, I don't know. I think that every other week is going well for at least to ease into it.
It is.
'Cause I'm like, oh, I can like schedule the second one at least in advance more.
And I actually had time to edit everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's nice.
Feels good.
It's nice.
It feels good.
Yeah.
So we have things because we did every other week. And Katie and I recorded some things so early on.
Yeah.
I will admit that we missed some things on the last couple episodes, which we knew the Sabrina Carpenter one was going to happen while we were doing that. But I also forgot to mention the artistry that is and the love that I have for Renee Rapp and everything that she does. And the fact that it was not on my list of everything that because I keep that album on loop since it's come out in July. So I sincerely apologize. Renee Rapp can bite my head off all she wants, you know?
Okay.
Which is also a joke because the album's called Bite Me.
Yeah,
so.
I'm aware of that. Yep.
But no, that album is like top tier everything in my life. So it's perfect. It is like the perfect combination of like jazzy, kind of slow R&B jams plus like pop fun. It is an amazing album. Mm-hmm. And you know what? As much as I want everyone to be like, yeah, she is amazing, I'm okay if y'all want to keep her hidden underground because I love the energy that she has right now. You know, I'm really loving it. So, although I think she's about to go headline Bridgestone, so
yeah.
What do I know?
I think there was like a TikTok for Sabrina of, I think 2023, and it was like, tickets were, I don't even know what the price was, but it was like a really cheap price compared to Sabrina now. So it's like, keep her under wraps, keep her where you don't have so much demand that the prices go out of control.
I love, she just has like, and I'm sure she'll always kind of be like this, like our friend Sarah, hopefully she doesn't mind me telling this, I'm sure. She's just like a mean lesbian, but in the best possible way, and I love it so much. But okay, Sabrina's album.
Okay,
it's a little controversial that a lot of people are saying that it's a flop.
It took me a while.
I fucking loved it from the get-go.
First listen, I was like, what is this?
I loved it. But here's my thing with it, is people are like, oh my God, all she does is this, and and everyone's a little like, it's a very weird conceptual album. My boyfriend doesn't like it because it's too country for him, and he doesn't like the like non-espresso type poppy hits.
Country?
That's what he said.
I don't.
And it's all like a very mid-tone.
Like, because like Slim Pickens was definitely more country on Sweet.
You don't think I'm just drinking to call someone is not?
I definitely almost called Short and Sweet, Sweet and Sour. It's fine.
I do it all the time. That song is so country. More like pop country. Me? That song is so country. I'm like ready to line dance my way down the hall for that song.
But if it's country, it's like way pop leaning country though. It's still pop.
Here is my take on the album.
It's like if Kelsey did that, then they would be like, oh, that's way too pop for country.
I think Short and Sweet, the deluxe songs, matched this vibe perfectly. Like, it was a very smooth transition, in my opinion, to Man's Best Friend. I love all these songs. I think it's so creative to have. It's like, I don't like ABBA, but this album is so ABBA-inspired. It's Prince. It's
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
90s. It's, like, it's so fun in those senses, and I love the, like, oh my God, that sounds like a, like, House Tour is so, like, 90s Prince and, like, Mariah, and then there's, like, the Christina Aguilera vibes in some of the songs, and it's, like, When Did You Get Hot feels like early Britney, Christina, like, it's, I'm in love with it all. I cannot get enough of it. It is also on loop for me right now. And I know everyone's like, oh, this is a flop album, and it's just like, no. I think give it a little bit of time.
I had to give it time.
And this album will, like, knock everyone's socks off at the end of the day, I think.
Also, I think it's just all over, like, TikTok. Like, there's not one sound of one song. It's like there's little bits of each song all over TikTok. So
Yeah.
then that's kind of what got me in my head, where I'm like, I like these videos, and I'm like, maybe I listen to the album again. And so it just took a bit, but yeah.
I did agree with Christian's statement. Our friend Christian said
yeah.
that he did not appreciate the don't worry,
I'll make you worry.
I'll make you worry. And I was
That
like,
is
that is
toxic,
fair.
yeah.
I didn't really care for that one, but I didn't care for that song in general anyways. Like, there are definitely songs that I skip. It's not like a no-skip album. Well, no, yeah, it probably wasn't a no-skip album for me.
Yeah.
But, like, actually, I think on my first listen, it's not like I'm, like, dying to skip a song. Like, it's just, like, I'm not in the vibe for that right now. And Don't Worry was
that's
probably the
fair.
only one that I was like, okay, I can take this one or leave it. But, like, it's so funny. I loved it. Tears, I loved. I loved the whole music video for it with the Rocky Horror stuff and
Yes.
everything, too. I loved,
I love the bit of, like, the guy has to die in every music video. I'm sorry.
I think it's also a short album, which is good. Because I think my biggest problem with Ariana Grande's Positions was that it was a very similar in, like, the sex terms of, like, it all kind of had a very similar undertones of what it was about, which was very, like,
Yeah.
I'm in love with this person or I don't, but, like, I'm going to have good sex at the end of the day. And I felt like that album was so long. But this one I think is nice and short and compact, and I thought it was really good. I have to look up the track list.
Short and sweet original, not deluxe,
Is also
12.
Yeah.
Short and sweet's like 36 minutes. This one's 38. So they're about the same.
Yeah.
So I feel like she called it short and sweet because it was a short album, but then this one's also about the same, but it's fine.
I loved it. I don't think this was the flop.
You know what's crazy?
I think some people, and including herself, are getting caught up with the, like, all she ever talks about is sex, but I'm just like, I think some people are having an issue with this album just because it all to them sounds similar, and I think it's a very polarizing sound. It's one of those, like, you either love it or you hate it, which is like how bands like ABBA and those kinds of 70s disco kind of was as well. So for me, it just reminds me of those kinds of genres anyways, and it was like you either loved disco or you hated disco back in the 70s, and it's like you either love this album or you hate this album. And I think it was just so smart and just like a fun way to, like, give into it. I think we did mention, like, how long can she take this bit for?
Yeah.
And that was a question of ours as well when Short and Sweet came out. But to me personally, I didn't think it was overdone in this album. I think next album, we'll see what happens, and that'll be the question. Do I think she still needs to be on the Short and Sweet tour at the moment? Absolutely not. But
because the next leg, I think, starts soon or something. It's like in the fall.
October.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, because Nashville's like start in November.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know. We'll see if. I know last time, because we didn't get tickets when they first came out for, like, the first time she was here, we were, like, looking the night of to see if anything would drop price-wise and all that, and it didn't happen, so
No.
I don't know if we'll do that again.
I also don't think it's fair for people to say that this is her first flop when she's had so many other albums before Short and Sweet, and, like, this is finally something. And, you know, in a sense, it does feel very much like we knew she was gonna give into it, because she already admitted to, like, following the trends of what people wanted, because she's been striving at this for so long. It's like eventually, like, all of us are gonna give into, like, what works eventually, unless like you're so sick of it. Like, I think of an artist like Lauren Weintraub is like or Lou now, and she was very country, and that was working for her and getting her a lot of places, but then she just really didn't want to do that anymore, and she took it upon herself to go out to LA and do her own thing. And you can do that, but you also have to know that there's going to be a lot of feedback on you doing that, and you might not get the same success that you did, and it's hard to get back up to that same level. I think when you have artists like Taylor and Post Malone who jumped back and forth all over the place on artists, it's because they've reached that point where either they can or it was already leaning that way. So I think, like, her kind of country-esque-ness is kind of leaning that way with, like, the Opry and all that stuff, and I think she's definitely, like, taking out what a traditional genre is, and I really like that, because I think we've come to a point where we have too many subgenres, and I think genres are a waste of time anyways, and I would love to do a deep dive on genres in general and why the industry still feels like you need to, because if you go onto a show like American Idol or like the X Factor and all that stuff, they still make it such a point to say like you have to define yourself by a genre, and I'm like, but haven't we proven in mainstream culture that that's so not important anymore? It's really about, do you have a solid brand, do you have a solid story, and do you have a good fucking song?
Yeah.
I don't think genre I think there are so many people that like don't like country music but then loved an artist like Noah Kahan and stuff like that, which I know is more Americana leaning,
right, but
it's still like you're still
aspects.
Grabbing people that would never normally listen to something like that.
Or like, I think I've mentioned this at some point on the podcast of like how when I was at my like ice cream job in high school, and when you're a shift manager, you're in charge of the radios, people get annoyed that I would put country on. And then my coworker was so excited of like, Katie, I like country now. Sam Hunt. And it's like, that's very much pop country, but it's country, so I'll take it. So like that's your gateway into getting into country. Maybe you'll start listening to other artists. And so, I mean, that's kind of how it works, is for expanding your musical palette, I guess, is one artist. It just takes one artist to get you into a new genre where you're like, oh, I want to listen to this stuff now instead of my usual genre.
It's like, it's so ostracizing within your own genre, I think, especially with the country music genre, which we talked about a lot. When like I was thinking about this with Kelsey the other day of like she is just, she's not gonna join like the Ellas or the Rileys or anything like that because it just doesn't fit with her brand, but it's like she's still in the country market and she's still doing so well for herself, and it's just like,
I think her fan base and everything is like still big, where she's doing the arena tours and stuff. But then like, I guess thinking about the CMA nominations, like I put, if you look at our socials, I did like a surprises and snubs thing, and I was like, where's Patterns, because that's not up for album of the year. But I think it's so pop leaning that the CMAs are like, no, we don't want to put that on there.
It also wasn't surprising for me, to be honest. Like when you
said it debuted at #1 on country,
I know, but when you told me like who were you surprised about and who were you not, to be honest, the list itself, and this is why I think like she's just so her own thing that it's like it just doesn't associate with like country in my mind. Like I didn't think anything of it because it was like, no, this looks like what country music wants to brand itself as. Yeah. And that's who was on that lineup. And it wasn't a diss at Kelsey. It was more just like, was I surprised by anything on there? No.
I don't know. I also Low Cash's post about the Duo of the Year category.
That's also fair. Okay, let's talk about it.
Duo and Group of the Year is like always the same groups and duos like every year, because country just doesn't have that many.
I was going to say, it used to be more because there wasn't a lot.
They were nominated because they were like, their post was, hey, CMAs, I think you accidentally posted last year's Duo of the Year category and the year before that and the year before that. And I was like, guys, that second and the year before that, you were nominated, actually. But I get the point. It's just that it's the same people all the time. Because they were nominated in 2022, also 2017. I think that was like late 2010s was when they were starting then.
I think you're also not
really
gonna
hit
get
a stride, I guess.
You're not going to get a nomination when it's just like the something like a duo or group, unless you're really taking a major turn, like you're really drawing attention towards yourselves, or it's just going to kind of go to the same people, I feel like, you know, which is harder to do in a group.
They just do a given or whatever of some of these people, though, where they just kind of automatically like, well, they're a top duo of the genre, even if they haven't done anything. Like Brooks and Dunn did a reboot album. It's the same songs, they just did collabs with current people, so it's not necessarily that.
But also some of these members could just be like very much for one artist and they vote based on like that, but then they're like, I know these people and I know who Brooks and Dunn are, so they must be doing.
But yeah, vocal group, it's like Lady A, Little Big Town, I've heard. I don't know much about the Red Clay Strays, but I think that makes sense because I know they're like more up and
It
coming.
does, yeah.
Rascal Flatts just.
But again,
came
they're
back
more
on tour.
Americana too. They're not really solely country, but
Okay. Old Dominion makes sense. Rascal Flatts, they just did their like tour where they came back, so I think that makes sense to have them be on there. But Little Big Town put out a Christmas album last year. That's about it. Lady A, literally they've been taking time. They're gonna do a Christmas album this year, so I guess Christmas albums for both of them. But like, it's been more so family time this year because Hillary and Charles both had babies, so.
I think that the surprise on the group front would have been Treaty Oak Revival. I think they should have been nominated because, especially on the festival front, they were selling out so many things. Like, I don't know who they were, but because of every festival I went to, and they were on every single freaking lineup, and people were shelling out to see them. Like, they were sitting their butt in the sun all day just to see this band. Like, and they had an early time slot. And they were like, this was my band that I came to see every place I went.
They're nominated for New Duo or Group of the Year for ACMs, but the CMAs only have a New Artist of the Year category. They don't do like male, female or anything, or do a group. So I don't know if they even have that option for newer groups or duos to be nominated.
But also it's like
just solo
a lot
artists.
of those new stuff also is like also nominated for everything, and I've already discussed how I don't like that.
Yeah. I do love, though, that it's Ella, Megan, and Lainey, and we're all tied for most nominated artists. So 3 women are.
I was very happy about that. Yeah,
it's like there we go. It's almost
that doesn't
like
mean
radio should play them more.
I know, because if you see the stats, yeah, a lot of people have been posting like after that all happened. Like the stats still are saying that they're not any front runners. So it's like doesn't make any sense. 1 second. Okay.
We've already talked for like 20 minutes.
Almost 30, yeah.
So, what's our topic?
So, because of all these new albums coming out, and because Taylor Swift is also releasing a new album, and everyone wanted to criticize her for releasing so many deluxe editions of the album.
Well,
and Sabrina and all of them.
Deluxe, because there's not more tracks.
We don't know that yet. But...
Okay.
But having multiple variants and all that stuff, we thought we'd take a little bit of a deep dive because especially on TikTok, I've seen a lot of people like, why do so many artists do this? Or why does one artist do so many deluxe? And then they're like, Billie Eilish, 1,500 variants, SZA, 1,500 variants and all this stuff. And I think it's more aimed a lot at Taylor, and I think it's grouped into the deluxe and release stuff. But she honestly doesn't have as many as a lot of other artists do just to make the buck.
I mean, I will say, just before we hopped on to record, I watched a little clip of Taylor that Taylor Nation just posted where she was saying her photo shoot that she did for this album had so many great pictures that she wanted to, like, make sure everyone, or, like, share as many pictures as possible with people. So that kind of explained why she has so many variants in that way of just having more pictures to share with the fans.
Well, I think what really sparked... Well, let me get into... Okay, hold on. Because what sparked a lot of the controversy was the start of... with Sabrina's album in particular, was the fact that people felt like it didn't really have any cohesiveness to it. And a lot of people just, like, seem like it's more of a marketing tact than it is, like, a purpose behind it. So... starting from there, we'll go back in time a little bit now.
Okay.
And I'll do a little bit of a brief history on recorded music. I figured we could go through the process of how we got to where we are in the streaming world. So, in the 1870s and 1880s, early sound recording and playback technologies were developed. So, you had the big gramophone and... you know, people like Edison were starting to experiment with how to record sound from out to the world and into a physical disc. So in the 1880s, 1890s, cylinder recordings became commercially available, which is where like the waxed cylinder would get like little indents and then like it played the melody.
I think we talked about that
yes,
kind of
briefly.
Yeah, I think it was when I was talking about Eric Church's album, because
Yeah.
there was something with that.
The 1900s to the 1910s, cylinders and became an increasingly popular format for years to come. 1940s to 1950s, steel wire recordings are a popular format. Magnetic tape is introduced in the US and becomes popular because of its flexibility. And then I think we also talked about like the first recordings of when we talked about our Black History Month episode. My episode for that was about the first recorded one in New Jersey from the female artist. I forget her name. Mammy.
Yeah, that sounds right. Mammy Smith?
Yeah, something like that. Go listen to that episode. Put it here somewhere. The 1960s, 1970s, cassettes were introduced as an alternative to open reel tape. Originally designed for voice dictation, cassettes became one of the more widely used formats for pre-recorded music. 1980s to the 1990s, the compact disc, CDs, is introduced, digital audio tapes. What?
It's like, that's what it stands for. I knew it.
Thank you, Katie.
Someone's going, oh.
It's okay, that would be me too. Enjoy brief popularity through the mid-2000s. Analog audio cassettes are still popular. And then in the 2000s to the present day, digital audio files prevail as a means of listening and recording audio, which is obviously the streaming and everything that we have now. Before streaming, there was things like Napster and all of that stuff, and SoundCloud's been around for freaking forever. And so, yes, the internet in all of its glory and fun. Mm-hmm. So, it's hard to determine when the first ever Deluxe album itself was released, but it does go back as far as the 70s. In 1969, Led Zeppelin released a remastered deluxe version of their self-titled album, which included other songs as well and live versions of some of their biggest hits. And then a year later, the Beatles released their compilation album, Hey Jude, The Beatles Again, which consisted of unused non-album singles and B-sides. The deluxe version of an album did have a meaning in the past. When CDs and in the early 2000s, they became really popular as a way to re-release music, and with songs that weren't like good enough for the album or didn't feel like they cohesively matched, but like still wanted to give fans that were really on board with what the artist was doing and like had some kind of intention behind them. It would re-engage interest. It would be able to be used to, reach your really close-knit fans who really loved everything you were doing. I always think of the episode in Hannah Montana when she's in the studio and she's like, I have to release deluxe songs because Taylor Swift just released. Yeah. Do you remember that episode?
Don't they say, like, does she ever sleep?
Yeah.
They make a joke about just how productive she
is. And I think that was around the Speak Now era.
That would check out.
Yeah, because that one has so many deluxe songs.
Does it?
I feel like
for
the time, that was the longest one. She released 5.
I don't. Fearless Platinum has 6 more songs.
Yeah, but I didn't know if that was released before. I thought that was an after Speak Now thing.
No, it was before Speak Now.
Okay. Well, then I'm sorry. But then in the 2000s, deluxe albums were usually released simultaneously alongside the album and have 2 to 5 bonus tracks. What?
Simultaneously?
Yeah.
That just doesn't make sense. Why would you put them?
You don't remember when that used to be a thing?
No.
Yeah, it used to be released on the same day. That's what Speak Now was like that and stuff.
No, it was like later, I thought.
I think it was...
Maybe not. I don't remember.
Well, and if you think about it, Taylor always releases like a Target version, which is a deluxe on the same time as all her other stuff.
That's true.
Yeah. The reason you would do something like that there is to make a little bit more money. People have the option of either just buying if you're like a casual fan or if you're a dedicated fan and you want to spend the extra money on extra things. In 2017, Ed Sheeran's Divide was a quick example. The standard version of 12 tracks was priced at $10.99 on iTunes, where the deluxe was $12.99. Both were available to consumers, but they'd have the option to buy. From an artistic perspective, the standard album alone is usually considered a complete and comprehensive body of work. The cohesiveness that lies within the specific song selection comprising the album might otherwise be compromised by the inclusion of that are out of place, either thematically or sonically. That said, those omitted songs are not necessarily equivalent to worse quality. Artists might still want to release them, and fans probably also want to hear them, in this case a deluxe version, with these songs added as bonus tracks are sensible. Fans now have the option, like I said, to pay a little extra. And the general public could just want to consume the regular version. Despite all the compelling reasons that artists have for releasing deluxe albums, there are posed to danger to the quality of the album, since adding extra songs to the track list may detract from the album's impact. Great albums are designed so that another song cannot be added without disrupting the flow. It's an example of Control by SZA and To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar that have no deluxe additions to their albums, because it just is great as it is, and the artist doesn't feel like it would make any sense to add anything. Artists nowadays, though, may feel a lot more pressure to tack on extra songs at the end of their album. And I think that's a big thing, is that sometimes it is the artist's say, sometimes it's a combination of artist and label, sometimes it's really a label push, because why not try to make the extra money? Why not try to put extra songs in? I mean, sometimes it is really smart, like we've talked about with the previous episodes of Feather by Sabrina Carpenter on her Deluxe being a really smart ad to come after nonsense, because it really pushed her career a little bit. You know, sometimes when you're not ready, I think, to move into that next chapter, but you have a lot of momentum, especially with streaming and everything nowadays, when you have to like constantly be putting out singles instead of like full bodies of work sometimes those extra little songs, especially if they do really well, I mean, it's a gamble either way. You have to like, are these songs really at your top quality that are like, there was a reason they were omitted from the album in the first place. But sometimes those deluxe songs can really go over the edge. I mean, I think sometimes that is how we talked about with Taylor. Sometimes the deluxe songs really do push it over the edge for fan favorites. But I
mean, ours has a music video and everything.
Yeah,
because fans like demanded it.
Yeah.
So, and that's from Speak Now Deluxe.
Why should you, as an artist, maybe re-release some of your music as a deluxe?
It makes me nervous.
Reignite interest in your music. Sometimes it extends the lifespan of your original work. I think that's why separating it, a lot of times artists do this so that it it dies down and oh my gosh, more songs, yay, and then people love you more, sometimes. It's boost streaming and sales. Again, I think sometimes it's looked very much as more of a marketing strategy nowadays, and that's like where you kind of take the gamble of like, and why so many of like, especially like re-releasing the same stuff in just like a different format can look really gimmicky nowadays. And I think a lot of people are kind of seeing through that as like not necessary, and why a lot of people have become kind of upward about it in the last couple of years. And it really kind of became more of like a cheap marketing thing, and like, oh my gosh, why do we need so many options in like COVID times and onwards? Because people were trying really hard to connect and keep interest with fans. Yeah. And you have all these new things like TikTok and, different ways that you're like trying to connect with your fans. Well, how do you do that? And like all these, and we're not buying physical copies as much anymore. So like having as many options, but again, you have to like be cohesive as like a branding thing. Like that's the most important part. If it doesn't match the rest of your body of work, I think I appreciated Taylor coming on and saying like there was strategic reasons behind why she put out so many different versions of it for pictures and all of that stuff.
Yeah. Also, there's poems, like different poems for each vinyl.
Yeah.
So that's something added as well. And I think like 1989, like 2014 version had the Polaroids that were
right, and you wanted to collect
things.
All of your the Polaroids.
Yeah.
So they're kind of weird.
It's all good. Just you got a little act.
And then we've talked about the showcasing to super fans and showcasing unreleased gems. The other thing for re-releasing kind of started again in the early 2000s with like Fleetwood Mac and
remastering.
Yeah, doing all their remastering, and then it came along with extra songs to again reignite people into like, why should you buy it? Because now it has extra songs or live versions or things like that, and that really was a big transition in the way that like I think record labels and stuff saw the interest of fans and like wanting to do that, and why a lot of artists started to remaster and re-release a lot of their songs. So
I think the remastering too is just because the songs originally came out so long ago that the technology's changed and you can get better quality sound if you remaster it. Sometimes, so.
I think a lot of people though sometimes argue that like the previous recordings and like all that is like what makes it fun music and all that stuff and artistic and all that things, but it seems like a hindrance to fans and intentionally designed to extract more money. But it also, what is driving it is the streaming and took over and the changed, like you have to, it's a way for like artists to actually like get you to buy a physical copy. Like, okay, you don't like the original version of this album, like maybe you want a different cover or something like that, and it gives you like a chance to be like, oh well, I have this exclusive thing then too.
And it also just like, I think people argue that why does Taylor have all these variations, she doesn't need the money or whatever, but like if you think about the amount of money that an album makes per stream versus per like someone buying a copy of the album, like you're making more from a physical copy. And I mean, not all of that's just going into her pocket. She does have things that cost money that she has to pay for to produce this album and all the things that she does. Like, she is spending a lot of money on music videos, all that stuff. So it's not all like a net profit. So
yeah. My only thing from this was somebody was like, at risk of sounding pretentious, it lowers my opinion of the artistry of the album. And that's, I think, the main point I was trying to take away from it is like, yes, just really making sure that it aligns with your artistry. And like, I sometimes like, yeah, do I want the pretty vinyls and stuff like that? Yeah, but I kind of do like having less options sometimes. Like, being shown one thing is definitely like, yeah, I want that one thing, and that's okay sometimes too. I think you don't have to feel like you have to compete with all of like that until you have art, like fans asking for it. I think Taylor does it because fans genuinely ask for it.
Right.
Like, I used to be somebody who hated deluxe versions. Like, I never saw the point of like, well then why not just release the deluxe, because why wouldn't you just buy more songs? You don't know if you're gonna like them all. Like, when CDs were your only options, I was like, why not just buy all of the songs? Why are you gonna limit yourself to the standard version? Like, when you go to the concerts, then you won't know the songs. Like, for me it never made sense in my head. But you know, sometimes people don't want to invest in an artist in that way, but at least you're still getting them to engage in your music. Like, some people don't want to be super fans of an artist. Like, and I just always wanted to be a super fan of every artist. Like, I always wanted to be ahead of trends. I always wanted to find the lower artists and like be on the indie know, because I wanted to be that person that was like, I know all the cool artists, you know? But that was just how I was in high school. And as I've gone along, I kind of can see why. I also hated when people would do a deluxe album or like a year after, because I was like, I already spent the money on the regular, now I have to buy the new one. Kelsey used to do that and it used to bother me a lot.
It was like 5 months later for this one.
But this time I actually didn't mind it.
Because it was like October was Patterns, and then Deluxe was March, I want to say.
Yeah. My biggest problem with it is always with Taylor's stuff, because like her stuff is so expensive sometimes already, like buying the regular vinyls. And then I'm like, but I know she's going to do a deluxe. And so I'm like, I might as well just wait. This time I just bought it.
I didn't even think about it for Whirlwind for Lady when I bought the vinyl last year, and then now she has the deluxe version, and I don't think I'm buying it just because that's a lot. So
I think it's tough a little bit right now just because things are so expensive, just with the state of the world that we live in.
I haven't even bought a Taylor vinyl yet for the new album, because she always does like the 48-hour sale, like while supplies last, but then she'll bring back all of the variants eventually. So I'm like, let me see what my options are, and then I'll pick one, because I only need one.
I know. What I did do recently was what confused me so much was because I thought it was a year later, so Kelsey re-released her deluxe, and I was like, oh my god, she finally put out a deluxe, and I don't know why in my brain I did that, because I went to her concert, I listened to the deluxe, I bought her merch, and I acted like I had never done any of these things.
Why didn't we get merch at Kelsey? I'm like, well, I did, and then I think about it, I'm like, you did too. What are you talking about?
Because I'm so used to like buying just a black t-shirt, and I didn't for this one. I got like a really cute, like almost baseball-esque type shirt with the blue band, and it was a white t-shirt, and I loved it, but like I just, for whatever reason, it didn't look like a normal concert t-shirt. So in my head, I forgot that I did that, and because it was a year later, I was like, oh my god, it makes sense to do.
A year later.
That's what she said in the post about it, to celebrate
for
year.
Patterns.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's October.
I think that's when this album comes out. So I bought the deluxe because it was a really pretty one, and I remember being so stuck on trying to buy it when it first came out because I couldn't decide which one I wanted.
I got Patterns for Christmas, and then it was like warped or something, so we had to return it, rebuy it. By the time all that happened, it was like, honestly, I think it wasn't that long after that she announced the deluxe, and I was like, I should have just waited. That's fine. Is this what you're talking about?
No, it was like a special, she did like a reprint with an artist and like posted it only on her Instagram, and like I just bought that one. So now I have the deluxe version of it all, but
I got distracted, obviously. I don't know. Not important.
so, anywho, if you have any albums that you think do a really good job, or artists that do a really good job with deluxe versions, do you ever buy deluxe versions? Let us know at themusiclenspodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, you can also comment it on our YouTube video if you're watching on YouTube. I think there's comments on like Spotify and stuff for podcasts too, so you can do it that way as well. Or on socials at the Music Lens Podcast. You could comment on the post of our new episode out now post or whatever, and follow us there to keep up with us. I got thrown off because you did the email thing, and then now I'm like, what am I doing? Rate and review this podcast wherever you're listening. That helps us a lot. And you can follow Alex, keep up with her music at Alex Allegra Music. And you can keep up with me at Katie Fee Music. And we will see you next time.
Bye.